tragedy. We find unity when we come together. Racism, we feel shame. No one wants to take the blame. Through the fire, we all will hang. With love, we can change when we all come together.
With E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio. Remember that this is the Region's Choice, and we are the voice. Oh, Omar, speaking of that, I hope you brought that new tune that we were, like, dancing to it. If you got it.
What tune?
The recording, WLTH, the Region's Choice, we are the voice.
Oh, no.
You know. You got it? Yeah, you're going to play it. We got a little tune or jingle that we want to share here on WLTH Radio. Remember, this is the station that you need to be listening 24/7. For those of you that like the oldies but goodies that they play in between our shows, you ought to tune in. And, of course, you know that you can view us on Ustream, ustream.tv/channel/WLTH-talk. Or you have the Ustream app. If not, download it on your smart device, and you can always go and view it. Just type WLTH, and it'll pop up right there, and you'll see live now. The views expressed by the host and the callers of the show are not necessarily the views of WLTH Radio management, owners, and sponsors. And today we have a guest coming on. It's Free for All Friday. Oh, you're going to be shocked and surprised to hear the statistic that my friends have to tell you today about STDs, AIDS, and all that bad stuff, because certainly not good. I was shocked when I was told. So that's what we're going to have, two representatives. Give me a quick second while I put my other two eyes on. You know, and before while I'm looking for this, I just want to tell you guys that I thank you for always tuning in and always joining us. And, of course, today is back-to-back Nuestra Comunidad. Thank you. Nuestra Comunidad Noroeste de Indiana. That's our community, Northwest Indiana. That it's a great thing to have. And, of course, it's back-to-back every Friday, 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Now, I will have to skedaddle a little early, the 6 o'clock show. So Juan will stay here until 7. And hope to see some of you later today. And it's a beautiful day. It wasn't hot. It wasn't cold. It was just right. That if I could call this summer, I would love that. I know some of you wish, shut up, Eve, we want 90s and 100. Not moi. I'd rather not have that. I don't like to sweat, so you know, I know that I always do that mind over matter thing, think cool thoughts, because it's just not cool for me to sweat. But anyway, it's been an exciting week, at least for me, and hope it's been an exciting, positive week for you as well. And it's weekend, the weekend. Yes, it's Friday, Free for All Friday. What do you guys have going on this weekend? Hopefully fun and safe fun. Fun. The evening is meant for resting in some places, in some cases, and some have to work. But, you know, it's a 3-day weekend. I didn't know that. Shows that I just keep myself busy until Emily says, Mom, we got a parade Monday. Parade? Aren't you in school? No, Mom, it's Memorial Weekend. I said, you got to be kidding me already? Isn't it the end of the month? Well, Mom, it is in between the end of the month. So, yeah, so you guys have a 3-day weekend. Let's hope that you guys have plans with the familia, with the family, because the weather is going to be gorgeous. How gorgeous? 69 of a high today. It's going to drop to 48, but tomorrow, mostly sunny and nice. 74 degrees on a high end. And it's going to drop to 53 degrees, but still good sleeping weather. You don't need the furnace and you don't need the air. And on Sunday, it's going to be a little bit possible thunderstorm in the afternoon, but it's going to be high 82 and on a low end 62 degrees. And for Monday, clouds and sun, a thunderstorm in some areas, 87 degrees on a high and 62 degrees on a low end. So this is beautiful. I love it. 70 degrees, imagine that to be summer. And then 50 degrees to be, 50, 60 to be spring. And 20 and 30 to be the winter. Wouldn't that be great? Wishful thinking. But with this weather, from winter till now, we don't know what to expect. You know how cool it was yesterday, right? They had that cold front. I was in the city. I was like, wow, I'm so glad I have a jacket. And I'm looking at people with flip-flops and shorts, as I was mentioning yesterday. And I was like, oh, I know they regret it, thinking that it was going to be like the day before yesterday. Well, you can't trust this weather anymore, guys. So tune in. In just a few minutes, I'm going to have a guest or a couple of guests coming up. And, you know, you may need some pen and paper. You may need, I won't say a tissue, because these statistics are sad. And it just, it kind of, I won't say bothered me, but is to say that families, parents, get a grip. Either you teach your children to be safe, or you're safe as well. But we're going to have that National Testing Day. Have you guys heard about that? Well, we're going to have 2 representatives coming on, and this is going to happen in a few. Wait, let me see. When is this going to take place? Well, I'm going to let them come up here and tell you. And this is going to takes place next month in June. So I got Jason Clanton from he is an HIV tester and a counselor. We need you, Jason. And the reason why I say that is because there's a lot of people that are not aware of, unfortunately, some don't even know what an STD, you know, the acronym STD, what does that mean? Or how do you catch it? So the National Get Tested Day is coming up. And I'm sorry, Jason, what was Nakia is also coming with him, and they're here. You guys are welcome to come up here now. And shout out to all those that are friends for Nakia and also Jason. You can always go in social media and say, hey, watch me live. Click on this. I'm going to text you the link, Jason, and then you can share it if you'd like. And we can go from there. You're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio. And, you know, good things always happen, not just bad, okay? I know that the media kind of inundates us and overwhelms us with negative, but some of the negative we need to know about. And especially the information that's going to be shared with us today, we truly, really need to know. It's 12 minutes after the hour. The Sound Off number is 219-885-1371. That's 219-885-1371. Thank you for following me on Twitter and also watching us on Ustream, and also following me on my YouTube channel. For those that missed our programs, they're always there. I won't say every day, but we try to do it every day, right, Mars? And, you know, today I was with my class this morning, and they finally got the books from the body to the boardroom. I spoke with them, and that classroom is just so great compared to the first time I got to meet these kids. So I know that change is being done for the good. And our kids really need to be protected from so much because they're surrounding themselves with so much pressure, with so much crime and violence going on, and even in their homes. All they know is what they know. And tune in tomorrow for a special program with Nuestra Comunidad. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about bullying, violence. You know, I mean, I told Juan, you know what, Juan, I might just keep my mouth shut for tomorrow because that's what I've been talking about all week. He says, well, we're going to talk about solutions. I said, well, I am a solution, so I don't know what you're talking about, but I'm doing it. But, you know, we all need to come together and work together. And more than anything, the information that you're about to hear needs to be in all the schools because not all the parents are good teachers, especially if they don't even know where their kids are and what they're doing, or even in adults. I mean, you guys will get to hear Nakia and Jason talk about it. So good evening, guys. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you guys coming in.
Thank you. Thank you.
You can take the earphones off if you want to put them on. You can hear the callers if you'd like. I just didn't want to flatten my hair more, but I'll just put it. All right. How's the volume over there? Is that good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Yeah.
Sound good? All right. Well, good evening. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Fine.
Well, you're obviously doing good in educating people, and so educate us here today. Tell us a little bit about yourselves, your background, your name, and where you're originally from, if possible, and then we'll start with Jason and then Nakia.
Okay, well, my name's Jason Clanton. I was born and raised in Hammond, Indiana. Graduated from Gavitt High School and went to Purdue, where I got my bachelor's in international studies in Spanish and a minor in communication and also a certificate of translation. And I've been with the Aliveness Project for 3 years now as a certified HIV tester and counselor, as well as a Spanish interpreter. And Nakia actually is the one who trained me when I started 3 years ago.
Okay.
Trying you to do bad things, no.
Yeah, you stick people with needles?
No, it's actually...
No, actually, that's how they get some of this stuff, right?
Yes.
By using needles.
Yep.
You're trying to get him in trouble, Nakia.
No, I'm not trying to get him in trouble.
You are getting him in trouble. You're not trying. You are.
Never. Okay, my name is Nakia Dumas, and I grew up in East Chicago, born and raised. Went to and graduated from East Chicago Central, and it's been 4 years, and I've met the Aliveness Project. I'm a HIV tester and counselor, and I'm also certified to draw blood. Jason isn't, though. So I get to stick him.
Step ahead of you,
I get
man.
to stick him.
Oh, better watch it. She just threatened you. But make sure that it's a good needle.
Yeah, good clean needle.
There you go.
That's about it, pretty much.
Okay.
And actually what the test is, the 20-minute rapid OraQuick HIV test. It's a mouth swab, so there's no needles involved.
Oh, okay.
All you have to do is just swab your gums, and you get your results in 20 minutes. And at the agency, we also do, well, Nakia can test blood, so we would do hepatitis C and syphilis.
Mm-hmm.
And those are, you know, Lake County, Indiana is number 2 in the whole state of Indiana for HIV, and we're number 1 for STDs.
Wait, okay, first of all, you like just, you just like
right
slapped
into
off.
it.
You just were like, whew, here you go, okay. Let's take it back a couple steps back. That's shocking information. I mean, you gave me this information when I met you last year, so, okay, should I act shocked again? Okay, well, you guys, okay, first of all, who do you guys work with, and how long you've been there, and what made you want to do what you do?
Okay, well, it's called the Aliveness Project. We're located at 5490 Broadway in Maryville, Indiana, and I've been there a little over 3 years now. I started off as a part-time tester, and that's, you know, they will send me into the most at-risk categories of HIV, which are the gay population and the black youth. So I would go to, you know, the gay bars or straight bars, strip clubs, Sojourner Truth House, all different kind of battered women shelters. Nakia's at Drug Court in Gary. She's also at Regional Mental Health, and she's also at Healthy
East
Healthy
Chicago.
Mhm.
Regional Mental Health in East Chicago. Gary Community Health Net.
Gary Community Health
Right
Net
on Fifth Avenue.
Fifth
So you're right
Avenue,
down the street.
next to the health department. That's
Okay.
where I just came from, actually.
Wow, okay. So this Aliveness Project of Northwest Indiana, how long has that been in existence?
A little over 16 years. They started in 1995 when the epidemic was going around and people were pretty much just dying of AIDS, and there was no help for anyone. And they started and they called it a hand-holding committee, which means people who were infected with this disease, they would go to their house and just hold their hands until they would pass away. So that was how they officially started. And then they were able to get more government grants, and the United States has been very, you know, forthcoming with the grant money and things like that. So there's more programs. There's housing programs to put them in. There's special opportunities, food pantry, clothing pantry, donated furniture, anything that person might need to help them survive, which is the Aliveness Project, anything they might need to stay alive. Medication paid for through the state of Indiana. Anything else?
So let's just say that I don't have Medicaid or any type of insurance, but I would like to get tested. How does that work, or can it work?
The HIV test is free.
Okay.
It's free to the community.
You guys heard that. Don't be shy. Now, all this is obviously confidential, right?
Yes.
Yes, 100% confidential. These are actually the same tests that you see on the commercials, and they sell at Walgreens for $40, $39.99 at CVS and at Walgreens. And if you come to our agency, we do it for free.
So you better go get that there than to go to Walgreens and have people looking at you kind of funny because you're going to get that test. Even though I applaud you if you even want to just go get tested or go buy it, because it doesn't matter what they're looking at you funny and being stereotypical and then they start judging you. Is the fact that you want to be a responsible person and to see if in fact you've been infected, or to learn more about it more than anything. Now, and speaking of learning more about it, how can we be aware of, I mean, how often are you out there? I know you mentioned the centers, and towards the end of the show, I want you to repeat those centers, but I know that something's nationally going to be happening, and that's one of the reasons why I'd like, you know, invite you to come as well to put that out there and let the community know, because maybe they're too shy or whatever, and they can go pick up all the information from you, and then from there independently they can go to one of your centers. Tell us a little bit more about what's this National Testing Day about.
Well, June 27th is National HIV Get Tested Day, and it's a national United States, which is encouraging everyone to go out there and get tested and at least just know your status, because as of right now there are 1,138 positive for HIV people in Lake County, but those are the ones that we know of.
I was just going to say, those are the ones that were bold enough to
Exactly.
to say, let me just make sure I'm not one, or maybe I am. What was the number again?
1,138
of the ones that came forward and
exactly.
Know about. Wow.
Exactly. And then if you look downstate in Marion County, they're number one for HIV, and their number is 4,582, which is remarkably more than us. But when you think about it, people from the Indianapolis area move to Lake County. People from Lake County move to Marion County. It's back and forth. And we're right next to Chicago. In Chicago, I don't have their statistics, but they're a major factor in this number.
Wow. I want you to repeat what you just threw at us again, those statistic numbers. You guys pay attention, and, you know, don't, while you're driving, please be careful not to put your brakes when you hear this. But what shocked me was that it's our area, Lake County. Can you tell us again those statistics, please? The numbers that Jason just kind of like threw at us.
For the people who tested in Lake County, the number is 1,138.
And we are number what?
We are number 2. Lake County ranks number 2 in the state for the most HIV cases.
Number 2 out of?
Out of all the counties that's in Indiana, we rank number 2. And Marion County ranks number 1, but you have to think about how big that county is over our county.
Well, yeah, right. You're counting more numbers, obviously.
Right.
But you know, to be number 2, that's that means people are not living right.
No.
And that's number 2 out of 92.
Wow.
92 counties.
Wow. That's messed up, people. Come on, stop now.
It is.
Okay.
And I just want to throw out there that it really has impacted the minority community. That would be the Black and Hispanic community, because we are underserviced pretty much. There are more minorities that don't have jobs, that don't have education, and that don't have the hospital, the insurance, things like that. So, you know, those things aren't being passed down by their parents. We kind of have to go out there and grab what we can grab. And, you know, that's a major factor.
Wow. So, as far as this testing is concerned, you say it's the swab thing that you do?
The mouth swab?
The mouth swab, just like when you want to get tested for DNA, it's the mouth swab.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not hurtful, doesn't hurt at all.
Right.
No.
And that is to test which ones again?
It's testing for antibodies for HIV, HIV-1 and HIV-2. A lot of people don't know that there's 2 different strands. HIV-1 is the one
Here in the U.S.
in the United States, and HIV-2 is the one that's from Africa. And it's testing for both strands.
Mm-hmm.
So how are we contracted? How do we catch these diseases? Because, see, that way the listeners here on WLTH Radio, remember this is call in 219-885-1371 if you want to have any questions to our guests, ask the question and then hang up. It's important to know about these diseases. How are they being caught? A lot of teenagers are now sexually active and with multiple partners, unfortunately. Even grown folks do that as well. So I know that there's ways of catching. Some are obvious, but can you educate us a little bit more on that?
Well, it's called the modes of transmission, and that is the fluids in the body that it's highly detected in, which is blood, vaginal secretion, semen, and breast milk.
Breast milk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that someone else asked that too. Breast milk? Really? How? Because it's transferred to
the baby.
to the baby from, because the mom has it,
It's
so
positive.
it's transferred to the.
Right.
Okay. So
Right.
don't breastfeed any child if you test positive.
And the physicians will tell the mother when she have the baby, do not breastfeed. They don't want them to breastfeed, and they will not let them have the baby naturally either, because that's bodily fluids.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
And actually, certain things have to happen, but you really don't think about it when you're in the act of having sexual contact. There has to be like a cut, rip, tear in your skin for blood to get through into your system. So there has to be an opening. So that's why we always tell, whether it be homosexual men or women, to use contraceptives and to use lubrication, because lubrication reduces rips and tears.
Sure.
And if you don't have any tears or rip in your skin, it really can't enter into your system. But when you, as I don't want to get too graphic, but if you're beating it up or whatever, you know, there's more of a chance that there's going to be a rip or a tear and you're going to see some blood. And if you see blood, that's not a good sign, unless you know that your partner is for sure negative. If you don't know your partner, you really shouldn't be having these kind of encounters.
Exactly. And you know, you play, you pay. And unfortunately, you guys heard the numbers. We are number 2 out of 92 counties. That's Lake County. And, you know, that's a higher risk of more people getting in contact with more infected people. And what areas are the highest, if you know, Gary versus Hammond or Maryville, Lowell, St. John, things like that? Do you guys have those numbers or no?
We don't have those numbers,
Okay.
but I
Okay.
know every city you just said, yeah, they are in our,
They represent
yes,
in Lake County.
yes. Now, when you get out to the farther regions, the less populated areas, you might see a few, but then theirs will most likely come from shooting up heroin or something like that, which, you know, you should never share your needles with anybody, even if it's your best friend, or, you know, you might know them, but they might not know their status. So you shouldn't be don't risk your life trying to get a high with your friend, because you don't really know who else they shared needles with also.
Do you know if the number is higher in our teens or adults, or is it almost the same, or if you know?
It's really from the ages of 16 to 24 are the most at risk. And then when you think about it, if you go back to your younger years, when you were that age, and you might have been less likely to care, you know, and then there's been proven studies that the cortex in those years in your brain aren't fully developed yet, so you really don't know 100% what you're doing, you know, so
Oh, even though they tell you, I know what I'm
yeah.
doing. But then when it comes to something else, they say, well, you should know better, so now you have a felony or a misdemeanor on your record because of the age. But when it comes to something that's so serious like that, when it comes to just being that, especially if they're under the influence, if they're dealing with drugs and or alcohol, their likeliness of being conscious of what they're doing is not really there.
Exactly.
So, okay, so what are the, unless you already said it, can be caught through dirty needles? HIV?
HIV and hepatitis C. And Nakia and I just we just took a training in hepatitis C, so we are certified in knowing the modes of transmission of that disease, and, you know, the different things of how it affects the liver and the body, and yeah, with hepatitis C is mostly just with blood. It's only blood on blood, but it mostly comes from needle exchange, not through sex.
So then it's safe to kiss somebody with it?
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know,
Closed
before
mouth.
if they say, oh, you got HIV, I can't kiss you, and then they said, well, saliva is that's not the way you can catch it. So tell us, come on, enlighten us and tell us it is or it isn't. Can we kiss or can't we kiss? You know, I mean.
Okay, well, with saliva, this is the thing.
Let me just tell you right now, this show, you're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio. Calling numbers 219-885-1371. And we have Nakia and also Jason, for those of you just tuning in, from Aliveness Project of Northwest Indiana. They're going to have a national testing date. It's coming up in June, but we're talking about the STDs, HIV, and all that wonderful stuff that will end your life sooner than later. And and what my show's about is keeping it real. So let's keep it real. I mean, you know, or as they say, raw. People need to hear the truth and not sugarcoat it and put that whipped cream on top, okay?
Right. Okay, this is the thing with saliva. HIV, we test for antibodies in your saliva, but it's so low concentrated that it would take 8 gallons, you would have to drink 8 gallons of someone's spit for anything to happen, or a whole bathtub full of someone's spit.
Okay,
but
so it's safe then.
It's not 100%
You got that
safe.
99 and that 0.1, it's just the killer.
Right, because
You're just not gonna do
you
it.
have to have an open cut in your mouth, and they have to have an open cut in their mouth, and then the blood has to exchange that way.
But still, you shouldn't though, if you know they're positive.
Right.
Because that 1.1% exists.
Right, that's true. It's just it's just a
Every
low
section.
probability.
Right. Wow. My no understanding about the needles, the dirty needles. And this happens to be when someone's injecting themselves and then they share it with somebody else that has it, or is that how it happens? Come on, educate me, I know nothing. You know, if I see a needle, I'm not about to touch it, I'll just throw it in the garbage. But I've seen some sometimes out on the street, so.
Yeah, finger pricking and needle sticking is the main way that, you know, people can get it through needles. If you are using, you know, a IDU, intravenous drug user, you should clean your needles with bleach and water, which is not 100% effective, but is up there in the 90s.
Bleach, not alcohol.
Not alcohol.
Not
bleach.
alcohol.
So why is it that sometimes I see things actually dipped in alcohol, thinking that, you know, oh, let me clean the needle in alcohol? That's how, I mean, that's how in our culture I thought that it would be alcohol to sterilize things.
Right.
I mean, I would see, you know, what is it? Oh, it's a bottle of alcohol. Let me just dip whatever it is in there. So, I mean, that's what, because it didn't smell like bleach. Yeah. I know it wasn't bleach.
It sounds good, but what we were trained with the CDC and the Indiana State Department of Health is that bleach is the #1 killer of it, but it's not 100% effective. But they teach, you know, users to use their syringes with bleach afterwards. And actually to shake it up for 30 seconds.
The what, the syringe?
The syringe, yes.
Okay. Well, yeah, for the whatever fluids inside to come out. Okay.
3 to 1, right? So 1 time with the bleach, you rinse it 3 times with water.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, because look,
that's important.
I want to clean with bleach, and almost like I can't stand that smell, and it stays in my hands because I don't use gloves. Excuse me, my hands touch the paper towel. There goes on my hand. And I could wash it 3 times, and the smell is still there.
Right, that's
strong stuff.
Like you went swimming or something, yeah.
Exactly. So tell us more information that we know we need to hear of, but we first have to go for some quick commercials, so don't go anywhere, guys. You're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E., and we'll be right back after this.
Taking care of your health is a fundamental part of life from an early age. If, despite your best efforts, you are suffering a disabling illness or injury and your doctor feels home health care is needed, consider Health Masters Home Health. Health Masters Home Health has provided services in Northwest Indiana since 1993. You will find the care provided by Health Masters Home Health is just what you've been looking for. Imagine a team of talented, compassionate professionals who can provide complex procedures such as infusion therapy, advanced wound care, ventilator care, health instructions, and more in the comfort of your home. Your doctor provides oversight of the care we plan for you. We accept most types of payments for our services, including Medicaid and more. We can assist you in determining if you qualify for home health care services. To learn more about our services, you can contact us by calling 219-762-0004 or visiting us at 3200 Willow Creek Road, Suite C, Portage, Indiana. 79th Street Barbecue is here in Gary, Indiana, and now open at 1101 Broadway in Gary. Van, owner of Gary's newest barbecue eatery, says, come and try our flavorful variety of hot wings, rib tips, turkey links, beef links, and pork links. You don't have to go all the way to 79th Street in Chicago to get good barbecue. We are here in Gary, bringing with us our reputation of smoking good Q. We are open Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. until 10 p.m. Friday and Saturday, 10 a.m. till 12 midnight, closed on Sunday. Some of our daily specials include 3-wing/tip combo for only $8.99, or try our delicious turkey drumstick for only $6. Come out and enjoy some delicious, tasty barbecue at 79th Street Barbecue, now located at 1101 Broadway in Gary, Indiana. Do you have a special event coming up? We cater to. Call us at 219-979-8980. That number again is 219-879-8980. 79th Street Barbecue in Gary, located at 1101 Broadway. the home of $53 down. Driving in the state of Indiana without insurance is playing a dangerous game. You don't need to be involved in an auto accident requiring the need to show proof of insurance, and you cannot demonstrate proof of insurance. That's playing a dangerous game. Call Mo 219-884-7506 or visit Glen Park Auto Insurance located at 3992 Broadway in Gary, Indiana. Call Mo 219-884-7506. Need Mo? Call Mo Griffin by phoning 219-884-7506. He's the man with the auto insurance plan. Mo Griffin ensures that you are properly covered with auto insurance in the following areas: SR22, SR50, rejected or suspended license.
Have you had your driving privileges suspended due to a court judgment that requires a 3-year SR22?
Call Mo at 219-884-7506 or visit Glen Park Insurance. Need more? Call Mo. Need more? Call Mo. Need more insurance? Call Mo. He's the man with the $53 insurance plan. Need more? Call Mo. Need more? Call Mo. Need more insurance? Call Mo Griffin at 219-884-7506 or visit Glen Park Auto Insurance. He's the man with the $53 insurance plan. Located at 3992 Broadway in Gary, Indiana.
All right, welcome back to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio. We're at 487 Broadway here in Gary, Indiana, and we have the blessing to be able to have live audience if you'd like to be here for our shows. We got the Breakfast Club in the morning from 6 to 9, and of course we got News You Can Use with Jeffrey Smith and Lauren as well at noon, and then you have Coach's Corner at 5 o'clock Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then you have Sound Off with Eve or E.V.E. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 6 o'clock, Wednesday and Friday at 5 o'clock. So we appreciate you joining us here, and we have two guests that are educating us on what to do when you have something, but try to keep from getting that something. And we were just talking about HIV. It's 40 minutes after the hour. The calling number again is 219-885-1371. And we're talking about the saliva, and we're going to go into now the STDs, and after that we're going to go to chlamydia. No, that's not a cologne name. No, that's not a brand name. That's just something you would want to catch. So talk to us about STDs and what is STD. Where'd that come from? I mean, why that? How do we come up with these names, right? Tell us about that. Either of you, whoever.
Okay. STD stands for sexually transmitted diseases, or you may hear they switched it now and they talk to everybody about them, but they say that they are sexually transmitted infections. Mm-hmm. So that's the new term that they're using now, sexually transmitted infections. But what we do is we call those the cousins to HIV, because a lot of these STIs give you open sores, and that's one way that HIV can get into the bloodstream. So it's just like when you were little, you had these best friends, and you always say, when you introduce them, this is my cousin. Mm-hmm. I always say that STDs or STIs is the cousins to HIV. A lot of times when you get those, it's easy for you to get HIV.
You're prone, you're exposed yourself to be easier to catch that.
Right.
Exactly, because say like if you even have an STD like syphilis will cause a little sore in a male. It will cause a little sore in the urethra, which is the pee hole, and you don't think about that. But if you're having sex unprotected, and you know some of their vaginal fluids gets in there, you don't think you have any open sores around your genitals, but you do on the inside of your pee hole, and that's how it can get in there. And that's how. And usually when someone is infected with HIV, it comes with an STD. It can come with syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes. There's some kind of secondary infection that's going on too. Not all the time, but a lot of the times.
So you mentioned...
Man, that sounds painful.
Right?
Yeah,
you mentioned gonorrhea.
I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people think when they see this open sore, I always say males see it more than us, but the sore is painless. So a lot of times it stays anywhere from like 7 to 21 days, and then it goes away. But a lot of times when males see it and it has went away, they think, okay, it was nothing. The thing about it is it went away from that area, and now it's traveling in the bloodstream, so it may give you an outbreak somewhere else. And so a lot of times they just say, oh, it was nothing, and then they go to somebody's house and have sex because they don't see it no more, say, on the penis.
So they're saying, well, it's not visible, so
Exactly.
it's clear, and
It was nothing.
Out of sight, out of
I
mind.
don't have to catch it. Well, now you mentioned herpes as well. You mentioned gonorrhea. There's so many different types of herpes. Herpes simplex 1, 2, 3. I don't know how far it goes. There are some that are okay. The fever blisters. Okay, well that's herpes.
Right.
Tell us a little bit about that if you know more about that.
That's actually normal. Every human is born. We have herpes in our system already. I know that sounds crazy, but we just naturally do. The thing is, if you have herpes simplex 2, that would be in the lower part of your body. So if you were infected, somebody's mouth was infected with that, and they gave you oral sex, then you just exposed yourself to it. And like, you know, in the wintertime, how you might see some people with a fever blister or canker sore on their lip or something like that, and you're like, oh my God, you look like you have herpes. But like, I mean, actually they do, but it may not be the infectable type. It might just be the ones that's already in our system that got aggravated by the weather or food or something like that. But it's very, very contagious, and all you have to do is really just touch the infected area. You don't even have to have sex with the person. You can just kiss that person, and, you know, then it's on your mouth.
Oh, so like they call it a kissing disease.
Yeah.
So you guys heard very good information, things that you need to know and how to be alerted. Now, what are the symptoms of, and I'm going to take back to the STD, what are the symptoms you said? How do we know, or do we have to get tested to know?
Well,
Sometimes you can have a discharge for females.
Okay.
You can have, and a lot of times when it comes with a discharge, depending on which one it is, it'll give you maybe like the fish mercury smell, or I always call it the wet cellar.
Okay.
Depending on the different ones that's out there. So it gives you a discharge. Some can give you dull pain in like the bottom part of your stomach.
I know with males, it can burn when you pee, like with genital, with syphilis and chlamydia and gonorrhea. A lot of those have the same symptoms, so you really don't know which is which unless you get tested for it. But it will burn when you pee, and also there will be like it can be a smell also, like a funky, unclean smell, you know, and it'll be a discharge coming out of your penis. And a lot of guys just think it looks like pre-cum, you know, you weren't aroused or anything, but it was just oozing out, you know, and it's that same,
Like a discharge
that clear,
would be on our end for the women.
Yeah. And right now there is and I would say an outbreak in Lake County of
Chlamydia.
Chlamydia. Now that's the same exact symptoms, but the thing with guys is we don't show symptoms as much as females show symptoms. I know from experience, like, females always go to the OBGYN and get pap smears and,
Right, so where do men go, right?
Men, we really don't go to the doctor. Like, we kind of run from it, and unless we, like, dying. So, you know, but if you recognize any of these symptoms, I would, you know, I would tell you to go to your local health department, the Gary Health Department. They do full STD screenings, and it's a sliding scale, so they go by, you know, what you make. If you're unemployed, then it's free, you know, so you don't have to be worried about, oh my God, I can't afford this, and they'll go ahead and treat you right then and there.
Okay, I'm sure there's some other centers in East Chicago, and, you know, Health East Chicago and Hammond as well. But it's important to get tested, especially if you know you've been active. Now, just when we were on break, Nakia had mentioned something, because it's real, and this is what we do. We keep things real about real issues, and we're talking about real people, us. The issue at hand that you were talking about, the saliva, and I know that we have a lot of same-sex relationships, women with women, men with men, but it's not as safe, is it?
No.
Tell us about that, Nakia.
Not as safe. I give you a scenario of what happened. A lot of times during spring break, we get the majority of the young population coming in. And this particular female came in and she was testing, and we have to ask a series of questions to try to find out exactly why the person is there. And what she thought she was doing, she didn't consider sex, which was oral sex.
Mm-hmm.
But she said that her mother told her that spit doesn't make babies. And so to me,
she said, that's all good. You can go ahead, dear.
So given permission, advocate for oral sex. But the thing about it is, you can get STIs or STDs in the mouth. You can get them other places other than the genital area. And so a lot of the young population, they just think you can get STDs in the genital area.
Wow, I hope you guys heard that.
And that goes for, for guys too. You think, oh, I was just getting some oral sex head or what, whatever I can say here.
You just did. You're just getting your pleasures, not, some people say, did you have sexual intercourse? What's his name? Clinton, and what's her name?
Monica Lewinsky.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Right. No, you didn't, but you certainly did some of that other stuff, right?
Bill Clinton, he put himself at risk,
He sure did.
And it was only oral sex, but he could have got chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis that way, only through oral sex. And you don't think that because you're not penetrating, but it's very, it can be passed along that way easily.
So we're talking about same-sex intercourse. Now we talked about the women. Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about the men. I mean, they are using their genitals or their sex organs for pleasure. How risky is that as well?
Anal sex.
I think everything is risky, but
Actually, anal sex is the #1 most riskiest form of sex there is, and that's because the skin in the anus is the thinnest skin in the human body, so it's super easy to rip.
Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you not know.
Wow.
Yes.
Right.
Don't have a mirror to look back there. So.
Unless that person looks and is bothered to tell you, hey, look what I just did.
Right. And then sometimes you might not know because it might be way up your
behind.
Yeah.
So what about when you already know that your sex partner is already infected, is positive of HIV? What then should the other person do, the one that's still negative?
Well, first they should get routine testing every 3 to 6 months, use condoms, and use lubrication. Right. With those 3 things, we have couples that actually do this. One is positive and one is negative, and they stay that way. And the partner comes in to get tested just to make sure that they're doing the right practices, and it actually works. But when you stop using protection, that's the main thing that kind of kills everything, and you're out there. And there is a 3-month window period when you do get tested. So say like you had unprotected sex 3 weeks ago, that time will not show up on these tests. You have to have it takes 3 months for HIV antibodies to form in your system, so it wouldn't even show up. You need to get tested 3 months after you had put yourself at risk.
So it's safe that they should be, knowing that their partner is positive, to be tested at least every 3 months? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, every 3 to 6 months.
3 to 6.
So has it happened, let's just say, I'll ask questions where I assume that some people may be listening, may want to know, so I have to think about all these questions. But you can call in right now. We have a few minutes left. It's 52 minutes after the hour. You're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. here on WLTH Radio, and we have Jason and Nakia. They're talking about the stuff that's really going on when you are not careful and you're not being safe when you have any sexual activities or oral sexual activities as well, or needles. using dirty needles and the things that could happen. And they are two testers and counselors, and they work for Aliveness Project of Northwest Indiana. And they just mentioned a National Testing Day. And when was that again?
It's Friday, June 27th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And that is located at the Gary Community Health Center, 1021 West 5th Avenue in Gary, Indiana. It's right next to the health department.
What are the hours again?
It's 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
And is there a phone number in case maybe they're too shy to call and ask you now here on the air in fear that we may recognize their voice or what have you? Where can they call to either ask you questions about certain doubts that they may have and or schedule to go in and get tested?
Our number at the Aliveness Project is 219-985-6170, and we're located at 5490 Broadway in Maryville, Indiana, and we're open Monday through Friday from 8:30 to 5 p.m.
Now, the question that I'm going to ask next, and maybe some of you that are listening could be good information for you to know as well. So let's say that you have two male, and they're a couple, and the one is negative, and then the one is positive. The one that's negative has been tested, but it's continued negative, like you said. What are the possible chances of them infecting someone else, or do they have to test positive to transfer it to someone else? Because what do you call that when they're not non-carrier? Yeah, they're non-carrier. It's not on them, but they transfer it over. What do you call that? I'm lost for words here. You know what I'm trying to say?
No.
Okay. It'll come up like 10 o'clock tonight. No. Okay, so are there any possibilities that that person that's been negative all along can infect someone else, or do they need to be positive, or?
Yeah, they would have to be HIV positive.
Okay.
The thing, okay, I just said undetectable just now because that's what I thought you were hitting at was...
Well, yeah, that too, undetectable, yes.
Yeah.
If you think you don't have it, but you actually
okay,
are
well,
a carrier.
What undetectable means is, okay, you have an HIV positive person, and they're taking their medication on time and all the time. So that means their numbers are, CD4 numbers are looking good, and their white blood count cells are going down also. So that means that what undetectable means is there's less than 20 cc's of the virus per drop of blood. Mm-hmm. Now, if you think about that, if you don't understand that part, think of a drop of blood and then there's 20 pieces of pepper in the blood instead of you poured the whole pepper shaker into the blood. So that just means it's going to be less likely that you can infect somebody because there's less pepper in your blood. See what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, and if anyone is, I have a few minutes left, you care to call, that's fine. If not, that's fine. But I know that you've gotten some very good, vital information here on WLTH radio, and, where I keep it real and talk about real issues with real people. And this is something that's important that you all need to know, because when I heard him say we are number 2, I said, oh my goodness, well, do our Lake County people know this? I'm sure some of you didn't. And it's number 2 of 92 counties, number 2. What does that say?
That says that it's out here, like it's here, and
it's not going anywhere.
No.
No, it's going somewhere out, spread, spread like a wildflower, right?
Yep.
So, tell us real quick what to look out for symptoms of the most infected disease that's going on right now. Because let's just say you're lying to me and you're infected and I don't know. What am I to look for? Is there something that I can see?
Well, with HIV, some of the symptoms would be in the first 6 months of infection is that you would lose rapid weight, like really quickly, like 20 pounds without even trying. You have flu-like symptoms. You can either feel very nauseous or have persistent diarrhea, night sweats. Your lymph nodes underneath your armpits will be swollen, as well as it could be in your genital areas, can be swollen also. Now with the STDs like chlamydia and things like that, we we've already went over those, that those are the burning sensations when you pee, the discharge and things like that. And you can notice a little bit more with an STD than you can with HIV, because HIV also mimics other diseases that you might not even think, like lupus, right?
Right.
So
Also, you have chronic fatigue too. That's a big one. And a lot of times, I always tell people when they're testing, they say, "Oh, well, I was tired." Not that type of tired, like I woke up this morning and I don't feel like going to work. Not that. This type of chronic fatigue, it happens over a period of time, and the only thing you have the energy to do is probably get up and use the bathroom.
Wow.
So you're really not even eating, and that hence where the weight loss comes in at too.
Now, when you guys are in a day-to-day regular schedule, how many people do you see coming in to actually be responsible and going and get tested on a daily basis?
At our office, at the agency, we may see 2, 3 a day. We get most of our testees from when we're at our sites, at our testing sites. That's when people are more apt to get tested, because people don't want to have other people see them walk into an STD clinic, you know, pretty much like, no, I don't want them to see me walking in that parking lot.
That'd be embarrassing.
Yep.
But it's more embarrassing that you don't find out and you're infecting more people.
More people.
Exactly.
And it's not even embarrassing, it'd be deadly.
Yep.
Right.
And criminally.
Yes, I was just going to say, if you know you are positive and you know and you go out and have some type of relationship with somebody or just sexual intercourse, that is criminal.
It is.
Yes.
And there's a lady in Lake County, her name is Marsha Ford. She's actually, I call her the HIV detective, because
bounty hunter.
Yes, if your name pops up in the system that you've been out there infecting people, she will come look for you. She will come to your job. She will come and get you.
So is that like on record, like the pedophiles or the sex offenders? Do you find people like that? Can you find out who's infected?
Once you become positive, you're in a database, so you're under surveillance by the government.
Okay, so you guys know that, but then they might refrain from wanting to be tested.
Exactly. So
well, you know what? You play, you pay.
Yep.
Oh, well, those are the circumstances that you have to pay. Remember that for every choice there's a circumstance. I mean, for every choice there is a consequence that you have to deal with, good, bad, or indifferent. So be responsible. Don't play so you don't have to pay. You're listening to Sound Off with E.V.E. Thank you so much for joining us. Continue to listen. I'll be right back with Nuestra Comunidad, and thank you again for being here. And thank you guys for being here as well. Hang on tight. We may have to say this in Spanish too.
Thank you.